What's going on, guys? Zach Evanish here, ZachStrength.com, Underground Strength Gym. I'm going to be reading a question that came in through the email. Just want you guys to know that anytime you send me an email that's Q&A style, I will not mention your name or I'll switch your name. I usually go with John Smith. I hate to do it. I know there's other John Smiths out there. And this is a question coming in from a dad asking about training his son. I love these questions. I love in general when somebody is saying, listen, I can do better. You're an expert. I want to go and reach out to you. So let's find this. And by the way, you could send questions by responding to the newsletter, which is at zachstrength.com. And also, that's where you get your free strength training courses. So, right here. Hard to see it. I got a little background going of the original West Side Barbell. So I'm not going to mention names. Good morning, Zach. My best friend suggested reaching out to you. My son is 14, going to be 15 in October. 6 foot tall, weighs 160. He plays soccer. He's trying out for the water polo team at school, which is a fall sport, and planning to wrestle again this winter for school. By the way, I've heard that kind of the code word for water polo is underwater combat specialist. They say that water polo is an extremely physical sport, and actually Navy SEALs, a lot of their candidates come from wrestling, water polo, and have some sort of triathlete background. So I love to hear this. Could be a future Navy SEAL. He started joining me at the gym and lifting with me, but he wants to do more. I've been lifting and exercising my entire life, and I know a few things. He mentions his best friend's name, suggested I start with your teenage program. That might be a good place for him to start for other lifting ideas. So, yes, I have a program on Train Heroic called High School Strong off season. I'll do a screen share in just a moment. And I'm also going to pull the audio from this and it will go to the Strong Life podcast. So, what you want to do is go to the Zach Evnesh website. This will be episode 524. You could watch the video and see the program. I'm also working on a in-season program for Train Hero, but I have in-season programs inside undergroundstrengthcoach.com. The father says, my main concern is my son trying to overdo it. And oh, 1 second here, guys. I'm going to give it a pause. Why? All right. Sorry about that, guys. My son called. We don't want to miss those phone calls. So I'm going to get back to this Q&A here. And so he said, my main concern is my son trying to overdo it. He doesn't have proper form and he might injure himself. And that injury could stay with him for life. This is so true. My buddy Paul Collodi say this all the time. You have an accident in the weight room. It could be a career-ending accident in sports. It could be life-threatening. I unfortunately have to say that, listen, the weight room, the gym can be the most dangerous place. People have died in the weight room. Benches getting dropped on athletes' throats from poor spotting or maxing out or not even using a proper grip. Squatting, bailing out where the bar goes over the head, not sure how to um, bail out properly, or just not having a proper spotter, not having a proper warm up, not even doing the right exercises to build up. But anyway, I'm a little bit ahead of myself. So the dad says, obviously, I cannot always train with him, even though I would like to, since it allows me to spend more time with him to see him develop and grow. My son does ask me for suggestions and advice, although we like to say around here advices, and he does listen to me about starting with little or no weight, getting proper form. But before anything else, as we all know, when we were in our teens, we did things we probably should not have done when at the gym with our friends, especially trying to lift too much. Thank you for your time, Dad. All right, this is a great question. So, inside Train Heroic, I'm going to do a screen share here. Let's see how we do that. Inside Train Heroic, there are videos that go with, all right, we're going to go here, share. Let's move this stuff out of the way. Okay. All right. So let's go right here. Train Heroic High School strong. And this is the program. Let's make sure we're still recording. Okay, we're screen sharing here. Back to it. This is the high school strong program. When you click on an exercise, there is a video that shows you how to properly do that exercise. This is an off-season program. No fancy equipment needed. I really tried to model it after what is in a high school weight room. There's speed and agility included. It's a 3-day per week program. Although I would love to see athletes doing some extra calisthenics or just sports training. Look out, this is the beginning of week 1, day 1. It's actually 4 days here. This says Sunday. It should really be more like a Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, but you could switch those days. Farmer walk, push-ups and pull-ups. There will be a segment that says if you can't do pull-ups, you do recline row, body weight lunges, hammer curls, sled drag. Don't have a sled, you're jumping rope. Train heroic warm-up is the athletic movement prep. A lot of calisthenics in the beginning. Band exercises. If you don't have band triceps and you're at, like a retro fitness, tricep push downs, one arm dumbbell clean and press, arm work, walking lunges, pull-ups, sled pushing, speed day, pogo jumps, falling into a sprint, sprinting from belly, foam rolling. I'm going to go back to the Zoom here and we're going to stop the screen share. Oh, I don't even know if we shared it before. Dang it. This is it. All right. I don't think I even did it. Let's start all over again. Take a look here, guys. I'll actually screenshot this, and this will go on the blog. So you could see this is just the beginning of day 1, week 1, basics. I like to say sleds, carries, calisthenics on the regular. Now, I want to say something and address something that this dad asked that is crucial. Today, I trained a lot of freshmen at my high school. One example is one kid is built really well, pretty dang strong. And when we had squats on the board, I had this rule. I like this basic rule. Before you put a bar on your back, you must be able to do 3 sets of 10 goblet squat, 75 pounds. Jim Wendler, I think, started me with this. We spoke 7+ years ago because he's been at the high school longer. He was doing something like a 100-pound goblet squat for 50 reps before you could touch a bar. He said it friggin' drove everybody to like this extreme toughness and just guts to get it done. He said, I wanted them to have the desire to earn their way to the bar. What's even more, I don't want to say more important, what's even more interesting here, and let's stop the screen share here. Okay, stop share, is trained this athlete today. Very strong. He wrestles. He used to play football. I think he also plays baseball. Very well built, pretty strong, but he's learning to train. When he was back squatting today, 135 pounds, he was able to squat it. But I said, in the bottom, I see your lower back and upper back kind of rounding ever so slightly. I said, also, your elbows are kind of pointing back. They need to be pulled down like you're doing a back double bicep pose. So I said, listen, I know you could do this, but let's take a break from the bar. Let's work the goblet squat. I hate using the word core, but I tell them core, trunk. I said, holding that dumbbell is going to build your trunk. It's like building a seat belt of muscle all around your center line, your core, your trunk. I said, your shoulders and back are going to get strong holding up that dumbbell. I go, you need those muscles to be well prepared before you put the bar on your back. Now I'm going to tell you where I made a mistake. I always share my mistakes. When you train large groups, it really changes your ability to see everything. It's just not realistic. I hate to admit it, but I might have 60 to 90 kids in a group. I trained freshman football today. I probably should not have even let them touch the bar, most of them, because when I say you got to do 3 sets of 10 with 75 pounds, I see skinnier and weaker kids going right to the squat rack. And I tell them, can you do the 3x10 with 75? I think so. I don't know. I said, if you hesitate for a millisecond to say yes or no, the answer is no. If it's not a hell yes, then it's a no. And I tell them, the referee doesn't know how much you squat. The guy lining up against you on the field or covering you or blocking you doesn't ask you how much you squat. Strong is strong. It's not only measured in barbell weight. That's why many of our early days athletes got very strong without the use of like regular barbell training. We did a lot of sandbag strength training and not the perfect sandbags you see today. We used Army Navy duffel bags with pea gravel. So like it wasn't even like the most comfortable thing when you're ripping that onto your back. But we did clean and press. We did a power clean, like a high pull and catch. We did squats. We did shouldering. We would do like a clean and throw if we were outside. I mean, I was training them like farm boys. That's what gave me the idea of creating the farm bar, the thick bar to develop that unique strength. That being said, I love what this dad is saying. It's like, hey, I could squat, I could bench, but my son, maybe he shouldn't do that stuff. You are correct. Before these kids touch a barbell in the high school strong off-season program, I have built them up for several weeks with dumbbell exercises to the point where there's been enough frequency and practice of that movement so that when they do touch the barbell, the transition is seamless. They're strong. They've built the technique. We should not be giving kids the opportunity to touch a bar, even an empty bar. It just looks like shit. I want to see goblet squats. I want to see dumbbell bench, chest support row, pull-ups, push-ups, lunges, split squats, lots of farmer walks, hill sprints. These are the key. But we could say these exercises. It's not just what you're doing, it's how you do it. I want the dumbbell bench with a big stretch. I want the goblet squat deep, feet outside shoulder width, elbows sinking in between the legs, building flexibility and mobility under load, which is going to happen with sports. What's cool is if your son plays water polo, some of the strongest, most fit athletes I've worked with are our swimmers. I mean, they get so strong so fast, and I think it's two reasons. One, swimming is resistance training. It's strength training against water resistance. Two, being in the colder water, even though it's a heated pool, it's still cold. It stimulates their appetite. And what do most teenagers not do? They don't eat enough. What do swimmers do or water polo players do when they get out of the water? They empty the fridge. They call it tilting the fridge. They eat anything. How do you get big and strong? Strength training and eating. Most kids are strength training incorrectly and or with incorrect form. They do a lot of bodybuilding or just machines and curls, and then they just don't eat enough. So your son is going to be in a really good place. High school strong off season. I don't have my book. Actually I do, but I don't want to move everything here. Get the Encyclopedia of Underground Strength. It's on Amazon. I think kids need to read. We can't be just looking at an app and scrolling through TikTok and copying Chris Bumstead or Sam Sulek's workout. By the way, any of the athletes I know that copy Sam Sulek and Chris Bumstead and do all that forced reps stuff, grind reps, the way they train with weights, slow and grind, is exactly how I see them move on the field, the wrestling mat, the basketball court. They actually move slow. Remember, Sam Sulek and Chris Bumstead, they are not strength coaches. They're bodybuilders. So if you train for bodybuilding, you don't get the performance aspect. When you train for performance, you will get the physique aspect, especially as a teenager. So I will link up in this video and on the blog, High School Strong Off Season. Encyclopedia is on Amazon, undergroundstrengthbook.com. And dads, get the Underground Strength Coach certification. If you want to set up shop in your garage and at home and in your basement, gain the knowledge. I think it would be tremendous. We have many fathers doing that. And also undergroundstrengthcoach.com. You actually get a year free to undergroundstrengthcoach.com when you do my certification. So that's it, guys. Big thanks for watching. Leave a 5-star review. Get on the newsletter if you have a question. Respond to the email at zachstrength.com. Thank you, guys. I am out of here.